today I decided I wanted to play with an antenna again. So on my house radio, on that Washington and that box, I've been running those on a 102-inch stainless steel whip with two ground plane radios, stainless steel ground plane radios. It works fantastic for skip. It's not so good for local. So I'm going to try. I have my old homemade antenna that used to be on the back of my garage. I'm now going to put that on the end of my house and compare it to the 102-inch steel whip. And let's just see which one does better for local use. They should both do the same for skip, but for local, I'm curious if the copper wire homemade antenna will do better than the stainless steel whip with the stainless steel ground plane radios. So we're going from all stainless to all copper. So let's try that out and see what we get. I already have some footage with this radio and the box on and using the 102-inch steel whip. So now I need to drive to the 6 and 12 mile points that I did that test at. I'm going to park in the same spot and we're going to try out the homemade antenna. See which one does better, the 102 or the homemade. What's your guesses? Put it in the comments now before we get to it. I'll try to put a commercial in right here.
You have that camera up there, and that camera can see what the meter readings that I'm giving from 6 miles away on AM. This radio, I have my camera pointing right to the indicator to show that this radio is on AM. And now I should have enough of a signal over there to show what it's doing for AM versus the sideband. Now, if you could come back to me and talk to me a little bit so we can get a meter reading in here. All right. I just finished doing that recording, and you're still sounding good, and it looks like you're still up around between the 5 and 7, more towards the 7 on both of them. All right, this church is exactly 6 miles away from where you are at. 6 miles in a straight line. We're 6 miles away from you, and we are on lower sideband. This is a stock radio, only doing 12 watts of power. All right, well, I did just do the meter test, so they'll be seeing that in a second, and now we'll double check what you're getting from me over there at Fayetteville Chapel, which you said is 6 miles away, straight line, correct? I am at the cemetery now. I can show the sign for the cemetery, even though it's backwards from my point of view here, because I'm on the back side of the sign. But we're over. This is 12 miles away, 12 miles in a straight line from you, 12 miles away, and we are on lower sideband with just 12 watts of power coming out of my radio. All right, still sounding pretty good, not as loud and not as high of a signal. I'm actually not even reading a number on it, but you are still sounding clear and I can understand everything you say.
Can you hear me? Barbara, can you hear me on AM? This is 151 calling for 268.
151, 268 says Daniel, very faintly, but I do hear you.
Okay, this is on the 102-inch whip, the 102-inch whip active radio, active element, sorry. And it has two stainless steel ground planes. I have the meter to set. And as you can see, it was at set. And we'll check the SWR. And just a hair below 1.2 it looks like. Alright. Now, let's take this antenna down. And let's put up the homemade. We'll see what we get for a match. I've already done a road test using this antenna, so this antenna can now come down and we'll put up the homemade. Spider came running down the pole right onto my hand in a panic.
Yeah.
I gotta lift it up, stand it up on the mount. Cable is in my way. Alright, you ready?
Ready.
You stand back now and make sure everything's going up okay. Stand back now and make sure everything's going up okay.
It is leaning that way a little.
That's alright, I'll straighten that up in a minute. Alright, the homemade one is up there. I just finished putting the ground plane radials on it. So now it's going to be time to, well, tighten up the slack in that ground cable. And then, can you see that? And then check the SWR on this. Alright, well, that same little test realistic. I'm going to check SWR again. I'm on set. Now we'll put it to forward. Look at that. Just barely coming up. That's fantastic. I can live with that. I'm curious, what's one look like? I know I didn't check one on the other one, but let's check it anyway. Give that meter a little turn. It's even lower on one. That's fantastic. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to take this offline, get our test radio out of there now that we know that the match is good. The match is actually phenomenal. But I'm going to hook it up to my Washington. Here I'm blurry. I'm going to hook it up to the Washington and connect it to that little black box to the right of it. And we're going to do a test, a range test. Because I already have a test that I did with the 102-inch whip. So now I'm going to drive to the exact same locations, park in the exact same spots, and we're going to transmit back here and see which antenna is better, the homemade or the 102.
All right, 268, are you in there? 151 calling from the church, 6 miles away.
268 is here, 151. I hear you loud and clear.
How about it, Mrs. More Junkie? You got a copy on More Junkie?
Mrs. Lower Junkie is here.
How about you there, 268? You got a copy on 151? I'm over here at the cemetery now, 12 miles away.
Nice. 268, I am hearing you loud and clear. I'm sorry, 151, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Copy that, so you can understand everything I'm saying, though? Everything is coming through?
Yes, I can. Every word.
Well, it looks like we got a winner, because with the 102, you there. And now you're hitting me with 9 dB, putting it up to 9 dB. 9S units, whatever you see.
Fantastic, I love it. $15 home aid, and we're making it 12 miles